Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you about LeBron James' keto diet. So not a lot of people know that the keto diet can be used by the most intense high-level athletes, and LeBron James is a perfect example of somebody who's used the keto diet to great effect. So in this video I'm going to tell you what he ate, why he ate it, and how it basically would improve his performance and improve the recomposition of his fat loss throughout the summer, and also help him perform well and train in probably a more focused and effective state. So starting with what LeBron ate. So LeBron ate a keto paleo diet. So keto is basically a diet where you cut out all the carbohydrates from your diet, and this forces your body to get all of its energy from its own fat. Your body gets very good at this, and if you do it longer than a month, your body gets ridiculously good at this. And basically all the food you're eating from your plate and from your body, all the fat is being used to give you energy and you feel great. A paleo diet is basically a diet where you eat only stuff that humans would have ate in nature. So sometimes this is up to debate. There's a lot better paleo sources on YouTube than myself. I'm much more the keto nutrition source, but I do know quite a bit about paleo. And paleo in general would keep you away from a lot of processed foods. You'd be eating only natural foods, animal products, and preferably animal products that are coming from grass-fed animals, healthier animals, naturally raised, pasture-raised animals that weren't given a grain feed and typically were allowed to eat their natural diet. So that is more so the paleo side of things. What LeBron was actually eating, because the way he did this was a couple years ago, and I'm almost certain he does this during every summer and off season, LeBron will eat ketogenic lifestyle, all natural, real foods, so paleo, and he'll do this for a couple months at a time. And what this does is this allows him to lose a lot of weight. That's why there was the whole skinny LeBron picture that was popular a couple years ago. And basically, this allows you to recomp and lose as much fat as possible and keep and perhaps even gain as much muscle as you can when your body is in this ketogenic state. So using ketones for energy, because it turns your fat into something called ketones. Your body is a lot less likely to use its own protein. This is a preservation response from your body, because your body doesn't want to use its own protein. If you get your body in a fat burning state, it's not going to randomly decide to use protein. Your body will only decide to use protein if you do a diet that includes carbohydrates, because your body can turn protein into carbs, but it can't turn protein into fat. So if your body's running on fat, it's not going to want to use its own protein source, because it can't even turn that into an energy source that it's going to be using. If you're doing a macro-based, carbohydrate-based diet, it's a lot more likely that you'll risk your protein stores if you're not eating enough protein. So on a ketogenic diet, you can get much, more leeway with your protein intake, because you're a lot less likely to burn your own protein source as energy. So this is also why LeBron's able to keep his muscle mass high during the off season and coming back into the regular season. So when you actually play a sport or do any sort of activity on a ketogenic diet, you don't necessarily need carbohydrates. You can take some in, and LeBron would typically have some occasionally through fruit. So this is basically through an apple or some sort of sugary fruit, but he says he didn't eat sugar, so I'm assuming by fruit he meant, avocados or something like that, or tomatoes or something with very little sugar. If you did want to consume some sort of carbohydrates on a ketogenic diet, I have a video on TJ Dillashaw, the UFC fighter, and how he consumed carbohydrates within his keto diet, if you want to learn more about that. But in essence, you don't want to be consuming any carbohydrates on this diet. It will be a lot better for you if you don't, and your energy sources are going to be a lot more stable. When you're eating carbs in general, your energy sources are going to go up and down, depending on when your last meal was. On a ketogenic diet, your energy is stable and relatively high. When it comes to LeBron's actual approach, this is the foods he was actually eating. Apparently all he ate was meat, fish, veggies, and some fruit. He said his diet consistently consumed meat, fish, and one of his lunches was typically arugula salad with chicken, strawberries, so higher glycemic, higher sugar fruit, with some sugar in it, mangoes and cashews topped with olive oil, lemon, vinaigrette. A low-carb meal that was also popular was lobster salad with mango chutney. So, in general, LeBron is throwing in more fruits than you should. If you have the metabolism or the stature of LeBron James, you are probably going to be running through that sugar source quickly anyways, but in general, this isn't optimal. If you are going to consume any carbs occasionally on a keto diet, you don't want to be getting them from fruit. There's a reason for this, but in general, it's because the sugar from fruit gets digested in your liver instead of going right into your muscles. Again, you can consult my TJ Dillashaw targeted keto diet video to learn more about that. But for LeBron, he was consuming small amounts of sugar through these fruits, and he would typically have them in meals where the macronutrient quantities were diverse. So if you are going to have any sort of sugars, whether it's intentionally from fruits like LeBron does, which I don't recommend, or if you're just consuming, a couple croutons in your salad, it's better to get your carbs with a diversity of macronutrients, because this is going to lower the insulin response of the carbs themselves. So whenever you eat sugars, your body's going to release insulin. And insulin, well, really when you eat anything, your body's going to release insulin. However, it's a much higher amount if you're eating carbs. And whenever you diversify the macronutrients, so basically add in some fats and proteins, the insulin response is going to be a lot lower. You want this because higher insulin shuts off fat burning. And when you're doing a keto diet for fat loss, you want the insulin to be lower and much more stable and not as volatile. Again, for LeBron, he was doing this diet because one of his coaches and friends, I think, recommended it. But overall, he was eating higher fats and lower carbs. And this is another distinction I want to make, because you don't need to eat ridiculously high fat on keto. It is not a high fat diet, because high fat is not a requirement to be in ketosis, which is the state where you're ketogenic. What is a requirement is to not eat carbohydrates. You are probably going to eat higher amounts of fat as a byproduct of this, but overall, you need to be eating a good amount of fat. This is where your body's going to get most of its calories from, and after you determine how much protein you need, depending on your body weight and your height and all those things, overall, the fat is going to make up the rest of your calories in terms of an energy source. And it's also a good source for nutrition, because most of the vitamins that we need when you're getting it from an animal product is going to come from their fat. So assuming it was a healthy animal, it's a great source of nutrition through the fat. Additionally, with LeBron's diet, in terms of focus and how this would affect somebody who's an athlete, fat is a much more sustainable energy source. And when you are ketogenic, your body is basically one step quicker at producing energy. So our body's energy is called ATP. And when your body is running on glucose, so carbohydrates, your body needs an extra step to basically turn the carbohydrates into something called pyruvate before it can create ATP. When you're on a ketogenic metabolism, your body's able to create ATP within the cell without creating pyruvate in the first place. This also makes it a lot less inflammatory and produces a lot less oxidative stress in your body. So it's much smoother and easier for your body to create energy. Of course, it might be hard in the beginning to get your body in this mode and to get used to this. It takes 3 days, and the first 3 days are the hardest. After then, your body's going to snap into the mode and everything's going to be a lot smoother. The longer you do this diet, the better you're going to be. Also, your appetite and your hunger is going to be under much more control. This is also why it's easier to lose fat on this diet, because not only is your body in this fat burning mode, where it's using fat for everything, but you're better at burning it. So if your calories are lower, it's going to amplify the fat burning even more. So as far as LeBron and using this strategically as an athlete, you can absolutely use this during a season. I am actually starting to do that recently for some sports I play, particularly soccer. And as far as weightlifting and soccer, my performance has went up despite having a calorie deficit in place, as long as I'm eating healthy ketogenic foods. I might even play most of the rest of my sports on a ketogenic diet, because I've been experimenting with it so much. I've been doing this diet for 7 years now, but I've been doing it on and off for around 6 months or longer at a time. But basically, I'm at a point where I'm starting to really enjoy playing sports on a ketogenic diet, because my energy and my focus is just so much higher and sharper. Additionally, you don't have to do this for a sport. You don't have to. A lot of people do it to recomp during the off season. And, you will perform very good the second your body gets adapted, because your body has to get used to this first. Everybody's on a cycle of being addicted to sugar. That's what our bodies are running off of. And you have to get your body used to using its own fat. And eventually, if you do get your body used to this, like I said, your performance is going to be sharper. You're going to be playing better, longer hours. All the studies have indicated that people who are adapted on a ketogenic diet, their performance goes up because their body gets better at not only using fat, but using carbs. So because you're not eating any carbs, your body's going to make a small amount of carbohydrates from the excess protein that you're eating. Not from your muscles, from the excess protein you're eating or from the green vegetables you're eating. And what it's going to do is it's going to store those carbs in your muscles. So people like Lebron James can go and practice intense off seasons with the Lakers and whatever teams he was on when he was using a keto diet, and basically you can play at very high levels. And this is possible because you're able to use fat and you're able to use stored glycogen, which is carb energy, in your muscles, and it will replenish that based on the small amounts of protein or non-carbs you're eating. So overall, you're going to spare more glycogen and use your glycogen more effectively than somebody who is on a carb-based diet. This is also going to be beneficial to you because carbohydrates are a luxury energy source. They're made to only be used when you're doing the most intense of your activities. Body fat and fat that you're eating is much more suitable for 95% of the activities you do in the day. So anything that isn't going to require you to sprint like your life is dependent on it or hit a 1 rep max on a bench press, everything besides those things is going to be fat for energy, and your body would prefer it that way. It's also a lot easier on your brain because your brain is mostly made of fat and it prefers fat as an energy source over glucose. So overall, for high-level athletes, you can do this in the summer, you can do this in the off-season, you can recomp your body, keep your muscle, burn your fat, and improve your performance in the off-season. I recommend it in the off-season because you're probably going to need that time to adapt and to get your body used to this. It'll probably take a couple weeks for sure, and you don't want to jump into high-level sports without getting your body used to this, right? You don't want to just start a keto diet and hop into high-level sports. I definitely do not recommend that. But I do recommend getting your body adapted, doing this for a couple months at, longest, and basically then hop into whatever sport you're doing, weight training. And overall, this is still possible to be used during sports, and I actually prefer it, and I feel great when I do. Like I said, due to the energy benefits on my body and due to the mental benefits that I get from just the ease of your body to use fat as an energy source. So if you're interested in LeBron James' diet, I gave you an indication of what it looked like, what he was eating for the most part, how he could have improved it by cutting out those excess fruits and those sugars. And overall, hopefully it's shown you the benefits of doing this diet, how it can benefit your body composition and your performance, whether you're doing it in an off season or during the season. So if you like this video, leave me a like. My name is Anthony Romano. Ask me a question in the comments. I'll get back to you. I get back to everybody. And subscribe and click the little notification bell. So thank you for watching. That's all I have to say. And thank you to everybody for the support. Really appreciate it. Peace.